میتونیم عروسی کنیم و تو رو ببریم.
This is a bold move, no doubt. The film was shown in Afghanistan for the first time on Friday and has been screened in Pakistan, Iraq, and Iran, and shown in many languages. Here's why. Australia is inundated with Afghan migrants. More than 7,000 Afghans resettled in Australia from 2008 to 2013. But will the film work? Is a telemovie the way to go? Joining me now, managing partner at Wilds & Weinberg Immigration Law Offices, Michael Wilds. Michael, great to have you tonight.
Pleasure. Lovely to see you. Hi, Tomi.
Michael, what message does this telemovie send to would-be migrants?
Very dangerous, but yet a very strong, bold move by a Western government. On the one hand, it's basically saying, stay out unless you're genuine. On the other hand, we can't afford to get this wrong. It took us 20 years, particularly in the United States. We're still dealing with the Amerasian children, with the children left from Vietnam. What are we going to deal with when the Arab Spring quells and a tremendous next generation is developed, and sadly the children are left of this generation? You have effectively have 60 million refugees at play since World War II. And one country with oceans around it so that they can't kind of travel or travail in there as close as they are in Europe, is basically saying, keep out. Well, the Republicans, you'll forgive me, I'm a former mayor, a Democrat myself, seem to be scaredy cats. The Germans on the right are really creating a fascist kind of commentary, and we may be getting this whole refugee thing wrong, and it's a great opportunity in all truth, a country that's known for its hospitality, a country that must take its homeland security and its immigration seriously, to vet these individuals thoroughly, but then to take in the ill, the infirmed, and the need. Right now, most of the world's refugees are young or old, and they're malnourished, and they need help. Where is America? Where are the Western governments? We're showing movies and giving out popcorn to make sure they don't show up. I don't know if that's in the right spirit.
People talk about the right spirit a lot, and I understand that because there is a humanitarian crisis and it needs to be taken seriously. I just don't think that it's the work of governments to open their doors to Tom, Dick, Harry, and Mohammed, and then you see what happens. We get incidents like Brussels. We get multiculturalism that's run rampant, and it changes the entire demographic and the entire culture and way of life of a country. And I think these countries are finally starting to wake up and say, hey, we can't do this anymore. This is a problem. They're starting to see what happens when you open the door to everyone.
I respect your opinion, and no doubt that is the culture of what has happened in these extraordinary porous borders through Europe. Right now you have effectively the entire world paying Turkey to contain all of the Syrian refugees with the prayer that they won't end up on other shores. You have generations of people that are paying for the oil and the interest of Libya in that European continent, and the collateral political effect that that has had, and the countless opportunities that we have. We must remind ourselves, as an American government, as our founding fathers, and mind you, our founding fathers fought in the late 1700s through the Alien and Sedition Acts, pirates on the high seas, as we fight terrorism, that we don't lose the very character of our nation. Now, the multiculturalism that you spoke of, it is a beautiful Irish stew, America. It doesn't matter what faith you are. It doesn't matter where you hail from. The question is, will a young man, a young woman coming from Syria who finds their way in America swear their allegiance to America? Well, after we've given them an effective legal colonoscopy, vetting all of their credentials, all of the security mindset, how can we not invest? The greatest risk takers in America's history have been our immigrants. We were all immigrants when we started this nation, and we shouldn't be scared of any one faith or one snapshot in a bad part of the world. We have to do our due diligence, but we should, as Lady Liberty, but a few miles away from this beautiful new studio here in New York, should be holding ourselves out as a bastion of hospitality and humanitarianism.
Well, Michael,
we cannot lose that.
I respect your opinion as well.
I'm a former federal prosecutor. I used to get rid of the bad people.
I understand, and I respect your opinion as well, but I have a couple things to say to that. You talk about vetting people. That sounds great, to say we're going to thoroughly vet people. Then you have the FBI Director James Comey himself saying there's no way to really vet these people. So there's my problem number one. Two, I understand that as Americans, we are accepting of others, that we are a melting pot. I hear this so many times from the left, that we need to accept immigrants because we were once immigrants ourselves. I understand that. There is a difference, however, when we have large populations of people coming into these countries that have no intention of assimilating, have no intention of pledging allegiance to the United States of America or Europe or anywhere else. They come in, they bring their culture, their custom, their values, their laws, and they impose it upon the people of the native land. That's what I take issue with. I said it yesterday in my final thoughts. If you want to come to our country...
You're very articulate, Tomi. You're very articulate, and I'd like to address both very quickly. The vetting and the assimilation. First of all, I represented for the last few years Mohammed Gulab, the gentleman who saved Marcus Luttrell from the Taliban in that fateful day in the forests, in the woods in Afghanistan. It took him now over 2 to 3 years to get vetted himself and come in and safely get refugee status. A vetting process through Homeland Security, ICE, FBI, intelligence services, military services, and all sorts of synergies has been deemed to be thorough. There'll always be a crack in the armor, but right now America has it, and it's taking 2 to 3 years to bring these individuals over. As far as assimilation is concerned, I disagree completely. It doesn't matter if a person prays 5 times a day on a Friday, on a Saturday 3 times, or on a Sunday 1 time. We are a country, despite the ghettos that have been created and in Europe, we have assimilated the Muslim community into our ethos in the United States.
That's because we don't welcome them over in the thousands. That's because we don't open the doors.
Well, we should be welcoming everybody, and we should be prosecuting those that are criminals and deporting those that are radicalized. Right now, we represented also the guy who subdued Richard Reed, the shoe bomber. We're fighting underwear bombers and shoe bombers, the radicalization of women. We're always chasing this thing instead of looking at this provocatively and getting ahead of it. Maybe we should be investing in certain communities, in that community, early on, vet them for as long as it takes, and then make sure that they'll bear arms and become Marines one day. Why not take the greatest risk takers and put them behind helms of businesses, the greatest mathematicians and fashion designers and hospitality corridors, and to the agricultural groups picking blueberries in Georgia? Why shouldn't we have a comprehensive immigration plan to help our beleaguered economy instead of looking competitively that they're taking jobs from Americans?
You and I are on the same page, and we're talking about 2 very different things, because I think you're talking about immigrants from Mexico and Central and South America. That's on the one hand, and then we're also talking about Syrian refugees on the other, and we're also talking about Europe and the United States. I want to say this.
I don't see the difference.
My turn to talk now.
I don't see a difference. A Syrian can come into America and pick blueberries.
Michael, here's the problem.
We don't have to bifurcate or politicize.
Michael, please let me speak. Here's the problem. The Syrian refugees that we're going to be coming over here are not going to take each individual one, taking 2 to 3 years to come over. That's not the plan that's on the table. 1. 2. When ISIS says we are recruiting refugees in Brussels, when you have one of the suspects saying that he was known for recruiting refugees for jihad, that is the problem. That is what we have coming over here. Not every single one, absolutely not. But it would be irresponsible of us to welcome in thousands of people into this country and not know what we're getting. And I stand firmly behind that. There is a great people that come to this country that are educated, that bring great things to this country. That doesn't mean you open the doors and let everyone in and hope that the best people come, because that's not what happens when you open your doors. And Michael, I have to go now.
I totally agree, Tomi, that you need to vet these individuals, but you have to also be compassionate on a humanitarian basis, and we also have to make sure that we are not looking competitively right now when people are ill and infirmed. We have a different obligation, and yes, I believe economically these people can add a great vitality to our nation. We're looking at it through the wrong eyes. We can't be so scared. We have a visa waiver system that's changing now because of what's happening in Brussels. We will step up. They will get vetted properly. Nobody's saying they should come over here immediately en masse. We need to do this properly. I agree.
Well, I agree with you on that point. We do need to do it properly, but I will just say that visa process failed us in San Bernardino. There are many instances where other issues, such as sanctuary cities, have failed us. Time and time again, that's why Americans are so angry right now. We need to do it in the right way. We need to do it slowly
so we're
and surely.
agreed that we have a broken immigration system and it needs to be fixed.
Agree with you. Let's end on a note where we agree with each other.
Immigration system.
Michael, let's end on a note where we agree with each other. I too believe our immigration system is broken. I believe it starts at the border. And we're going to leave it at that. Thank you for being with me tonight.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.